Welcome to a Friday fireside chat. Excited about this one, and it has to do with the topic of ways you can learn about trading, ways you can get educated, trained, ways you can just learn about the market. And I realize that I sit here and I say, well, I believe you should invest into your education. I believe you should invest into some sort of training. And I'm biased in that, self-admittedly, and you can sit here and say, well, you're just saying that because you sell a course, you sell a program. And like I said, that's true. That's a fair criticism. I can offer up many different, or I'm only going to offer up one kind of counter argument and one kind of just thing for you to consider. But I'll put down below some links to videos where I've talked about how much money I've actually invested into learning about real estate, before I got involved in that. And I go through some other things about why 90% of people fail and kind of the pitfalls of free education. And I'll also link a podcast down below where I talk about something that's, in the world of psychology known as decision fatigue. And if you want to learn more about that, but that is totally not my opinion. That is straight up based in science and psychology and all of that with, literal scientific studies that explain that. But like I said, I'll put those things down below. But what I want to focus on here is another kind of real life example of why it sounds good, but then with this person's own admission, they contradict themselves in a way that kind of just makes you say and shake your head and be like, okay, if it's that way, can you imagine all the other ways that you could potentially suffer? So what I'm gonna do here, and this comes from YouTube, I'm gonna read the second comment first, and then I'm gonna read his original comment, and I'll keep it PG. I won't block out anything else, but like I said, this person, yeah, let's just get to the comment here. So like I said, from YouTube, this person says, and one more thing, if you're paying for knowledge, then you're an idiot. Unless you're getting a diploma, license, then good stuff. Because all the information is out there. You just have to find it. You're basically paying to have your wiped and be spoon-fed. And at the end, you cry because it didn't work out for you. Pathetic. Libraries are open to the public. The information is there. People screw up all the time. Learn from their mistakes and stay consistent. So yes, very clearly this person's position is only idiots would ever pay to learn anything unless you're getting a diploma or some sort of license. That's a whole nother rabbit trail. If you're paying to get a diploma in the history of Roman wood art carvings, I don't know. I think that's more of a scam, but like I said, that's another rabbit hole. But the idea here is, look, listen, unless you're getting a diploma or a license, you're an idiot for paying for education because it's all out there. You just have to find it. You have to learn from others' mistakes. And to be fair, yeah, that all sounds really, really good. I mean, it is. There's libraries, there's the internet, there's YouTube, there's other people's mistakes that you can learn from and all of that. But now let's go to the first comment. And I want, maybe it'll stand out to you, maybe not, but I found this very, very ironic that they actually needed to spend any money at all in order to learn this lesson. So let's just read through this first comment now. What an idiot as a beginner. At least test the waters. I started today and oh boy, did I make a huge loss. I started with $50 and went down 2 cents. Lesson learned, the stock market is unpredictable. Okay, so the person's logic is, listen, I'm only starting with $50 and I only lost 2 cents. But did you catch what the 2 cent lesson actually taught them? They had to lose 2 cents to learn that the stock market is unpredictable? Really? You had to lose money in any capacity to learn that the stock market is unpredictable? Now again, yes, I get it, it's 2 cents. But do you see the irony here? Do you see the general framework that this person had to lose money to learn a lesson that the stock market is unpredictable? Really? Really? So you think that if you need to lose money to learn that you're somehow going to learn all these other, I mean, that's like the most basic, that's like the most basic of basic lessons out there. Like, I won't charge you anything. Like, I can't believe you had to spend money to lose that. I'm telling you right now, the stock market is unpredictable. There you go. I just tried to save you some money there. But this person had to lose that in order to learn such a, I think that's the most, Nate, is that like the most basic? I don't know. Do you realize the stock market is unpredictable?
I'm pretty sure the stock market is unpredictable.
I mean, would you ever need to lose money to realize the stock market?
No.
Isn't that in every disclosure that you read is past performance is not indicative of future results? Why? Because the stock market is unpredictable. Yet this person who's quite confident in himself based on the second had to lose money to figure that out. My point is this. This is a great example why the free information route, I will never call it impossible, but why it's very, very tricky, and why failure rates are as high as 90, some people say 95%. Because yeah, there are things that losses can teach you, but that assumes that you first off even learn the right thing. I see it all the time. People are like, oh, I took a loss and my lesson learned was this. And this is totally not what they should have learned from that loss. But let's just assume that you get the right lesson from every single loss. There are a lot of things that need to be learned. And unless you have a money tree growing out back, it's going to be very, very difficult to actually learn everything with losses along the way. And again, that's assuming, that's me giving you credit that you'll actually learn the right lesson. I mean, all it takes is one wrong lesson learned, and that sends you down a path that's going to create that many more wrong lessons. So even with giving you the benefit of the doubt, that's very tricky, and that's a very difficult thing to go by. So again, I get it. In this person's mind, it's only $50. It was only 2 cents. But you got to step back and realize that from that and kind of extrapolating that out to many more situations, that $50 is not going to go very far. That $500 or whatever, you're starting, it's not going to go very far at all. So again, yes, I am biased in this because I do offer courses. I would love for you to invest in those courses, or if you don't feel comfortable with me, that's cool. Invest in somebody else's courses. But like I said, this is a great point here. But at least if anything, listen to the podcast that I did. It's like 40-ish minutes long, and I go through the scientific studies and I go through just kind of the science. I don't know, maybe I even talked about it in a vlog now that I think about it. I can't remember, but decision fatigue, it's a very real thing. And it eats people up all the time, and you got to be aware of it. But yeah, like I said, just don't be like this person. Don't be, so narrow-minded that you're saying the most silly of, this is one of the most silly things I've ever heard since I started doing this channel, everything back in 2013. They had to lose money in order to learn that the stock market is unpredictable. Alrighty then. All right, so just keep that in mind. There is, investing into a structured program, investing into something that you feel, somebody that you feel comfortable with. You can avoid a lot of things. And like I said, I'm going to be nice enough and tell you, save you money so you don't have to lose it. The stock market is unpredictable. So some things to chew on, and if anything, maybe you got some entertainment out of this one, but there's definitely real life applications too. So hopefully you pulled at least something from it. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event, whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.